All right, in this short video, I'm going to walk you through how you can create averages for your variables using the syntax function in SPSS. Let me orient you to my materials here. This is a hypothetical data set displaying data from 6 participants who answered 4 questions about their level of self-esteem and 3 questions about their anxiety, as well as a few bits of demographic information. Now, if you want to compute variables using the syntax function of SPSS, you need to have first your data set open, and you need to know which of any of these items are reverse coded, because we're going to need to perform that reverse scoring before we create our averages. So you're going to want to have your study materials with you so you know whether there's any reverse scoring that needs to be done. So for example, in the self-esteem questions, people are assessing their agreement with the statements, I am a person of worth, I am a person of value, I have many good qualities, and I feel bad about myself a lot. That's obviously written in the reversed wording as the other items. So I'm going to need to flip people's responses to that question to make sure that it's not screwing up my average, right? If you look at people's responses here, the idea is, let's look at this first participant. They're responding highly in the affirmative to the first few questions, and more so in the other direction for that last item. So in order to have accurate averages, we're going to need to reverse any items that need to be reversed. So in this hypothetical, that's self-esteem 4 and anxiety 3. So we're going to need to pull up our syntax. In order to do that, have your data set open, go to File, New, Syntax. This opens up your syntax window, and this is where you're going to type in your commands. You need to have both the syntax window open and your data set open to properly do this. I've already prepared my syntax for this particular data. Your syntax is going to be written in code which specifies what you want to do on which variables in your data set. So this would be my syntax for the reversing for my first self-esteem, for my reverse coded self-esteem item, as well as my average. So here's how I created my coding here for my reverse scoring. In order to flip the value that everyone has on that last self-esteem question so they get an accurate sense of just how much self-esteem they have, I want to compute. Okay, so this is the command telling SPSS that I want to create a new variable. I'm going to create a new variable, and so you have to name it. I'm naming it resteem4 so that I know it's the reversed version. Space equals space. This 6 I got because it is 1 higher than the highest value on the scale. Okay, so my scale ranges from 1 to 5. 6 is 1 higher than that. That's the value I'm going to need here. And then minus esteem 4, period. You need to have the period or the command will not be considered complete. What this is going to achieve once I run this command is it's going to create a new variable called resteem4, and SPSS is going to automatically populate the new values for each participant on that new variable as the flipped value to what they actually responded. So you need to highlight it, and you need to click this green arrow. If you haven't received an error message, that means it properly completed the function for you. So then if you go to your actual data set, one thing you'll note is that there'll be a new variable called resteem4 here. And then when you go to the data view, again, that information will be automatically computed for you. So then on to computing my actual average. You can do this in syntax as well. So go back to your syntax window, and then the next command will be this actual averaging process. So it's still the compute function because you're still directing SPSS to create a new variable for you. So compute space, name your new variable, whatever you want to name it, total esteem, average esteem, as long as you don't use any unaccepted characters within SPSS. That's why I use underscores a lot. So I'm going to call my averaged esteem variable compute. So compute, name your new variable, space equals space. It's important not to leave out these spaces because otherwise you'll get an error command. In all capitals, mean, M-E-A-N. Without a space, do an open parentheses. And then within the parentheses, put in all of the variables that are going to constitute your average. So I want to create a single self-esteem score for all of my participants that's comprised of esteem 1, esteem 2, esteem 3, and reverse esteem 4. Make sure not to keep the unreversed self-esteem for in there because it's going to screw up the averages. You only want the reversed version of your item to be included in the average. So again, critically, SPSS doesn't know to do that yet. I've just written the command, highlight the new command, click the green arrow to run it. Again, make sure that you're free of error messages. If an error message does pop up, it'll tell you the line in which it occurred, so you can go back and look for typos. Usually, an error message will be the result of a typo, so you just misspelled one of your variables. This spelling needs to be exactly the way it's spelled in the data set in the variable view, or else you'll get an error message. Additionally, making sure that your spaces and inclusion of any periods are consistent with this basic structure of the command that I've shown you. So in creating your own reverse scores and averages, basically you could take this template, you would create your name for your reversed item, make sure that you're properly reverse scoring it. So plug in the value here that's one higher than the highest value in your response scale, minus the non-reversed version. Then to create your average, again, use the compute function, you name your new variable, and the new variable will be constituted of the average of the items that constitute the scale. So hopefully that helps explain a little bit how you can use SPSS syntax to quickly transform your variables. You can just save this template and you can reuse it by switching out for whatever variables you have presently in your data set. So I hope that was helpful. And I hope you're having a great day. Bye.